It's about that time.
Stoned on Sports.
Welcome, everybody, to Stoned on Sports Fantasy Football. My name is Matt. Got the awesome co-conspirator with me here today, Kyle. And you know what, dude? It's Thursday. We're going to be talking starts and sits. Before we jump into that and Dubo hit the nail on the head, we always lead you into Thursday night football, and tonight is a damn big game in the NFC North.
It is. Our Lions, the Packers come in. FTP. We beat them earlier in the season in Green Bay. So I'm hoping for a repeat of that. I think it'll still be a close game, but Detroit will prevail. We got Dubo and Captain Spock in there, both wishing us
What's up, fellas?
good luck there. While Dubo's like, "You're not nervous, are you?" No. Not really. Next week, I think I'll be a lot more nervous.
I'm going to be whooping Dubo's ass in the podcast league this week. And go ahead and just put that on wax. I'll put that out into the universe.
Look at Mr. 5-8 threatening the top team in the league with that.
I'm playing spoiler now.
All right. So we got 8 guys total, 4 guys to start, 4 guys to sit. First guy we got for you is none other than QB Tua Tagovailoa with the Dolphins. And he's been, absolutely on fire lately. Last week, completed 36 of 45 passes for 357 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Had a few yards on the ground and threw for a 2-point conversion too. He finishes QB 7, which they lost pretty bad there in that snow game in Green Bay on Thanksgiving night, I believe it was. But since he returned. In week 8, he's been QB 7 in that time frame. So it's been very good for fantasy. He's now scored 23 plus points in 3 straight games, tossing multiple touchdowns without an interception for the 3rd consecutive game. Since week 8, when he returned, Tua ranks pretty well. 9th in PFF passing grade. He's 1st in completion percentage at, check this, 77.3%.
That's pretty good.
That's very good. 1st in passer rating, 12th in yards per attempt, 4th in touchdown passes with 13, and he's 2nd since week 8 in passing yards. The ADOT is in the tank this season, just 6 flat. He was at 8.2 last year, among the top 12 quarterbacks last year, and I think that can be explained this year for a few reasons. One, the O-line is atrocious. They've played very bad. It's not good at all. And 2, the Dolphins are simply taking what defenses are giving them, which is basically anything but completions over the top. And the Miami Tua, they just don't have any answers for too high coverages with deep passes. It's been pretty wild this year. Tua's only throwing deep, which is 20 plus yards downfield on 2.4% of his attempts when he gets that too high look. It's not good. And it's been nice because not nice for everybody. It's been nice for like Smith and Achane owners, but you got Waddle and Hill kind of clearing out the space underneath. That's been allowing easy completions to Jaxon Smith, who's been having a hell of a past month, and Achane, who's been having hell of a year too. So you've been seeing great production out of those 2. I'd start Tua against the Jets. They've allowed 2 QBs to beat them for 28 plus points in their last 3 games. And their defense has surrendered 24 plus points to 4 different quarterbacks since week 6. So I think, I won't say he'll smash, but I think he'll do well. Now, he has not done very well in his career versus the Jets. He's averaged just 13 fantasy points per game in his career, but Miami desperately needs a win to stay in the wild card chase. I know not all this kind of matters for fantasy, but it does in a way. So, and the Jets are practically, eliminated. They're not doing nothing. I think they're very ready for the offseason there in New York. So I expect the Dolphins to roll here. I have them as a low end QB1 this week, and the game is in Miami. So no cold, no snow.
Yeah, that too high look is absolutely killing my Tyreek Hill shares. Sure. I don't like it. I'm not a fan. I understand though, like, look, because of that, Jonnu is going to eat. Tua is doing his thing. You can't argue with the outcome, right? And they're still a team with something to play for, where the Jets do not.
No. Absolutely not. See, we got some activity in the chat. Looks like most of our normals are here. Our normals, our supporters are here, I should say. Next guy we got for you, Tony Pollard. He's been less consistent in recent weeks, but this week I think you should see a pretty positive game script due to how crappy the Jaguars' run defense is. What do you think, Matt?
Well, that's a pretty good question. Tony Pollard, look, this year he's been halfway decent, right? He's been a solid RB2 over the course of the year. He's the RB21 in total points, 22 in points per game. He's given you 8 games over 10 points, including 4 of his last 6. In the game versus the Jags, looking at it holistically, it's not all that appealing on first glance, right? You're looking at a 39.5 total, which is lowest on the board, but all but 3 games this week are in the low to mid 40s, so it's not that far away. I actually think this game goes over the total and the Titans get the win. Why is that important? Because in the 3 Titans wins this season, Pollard averages 25 carries for 111 yards, and he's scored twice with another 3 for 20 through the air. He is significantly shittier in losses, though. He failed to record 10 carries in the last 3 defeats. Still, we're talking about a dude that's 10th in rushing yards, 4th in yards after contact, 8th in rushes over 10 yards, and 12th in runs over 20 yards. So there's some burst there. It sucks that he's only found pay dirt 4 times, though, but he is 25th in red zone touches and has just 2 goal line touches. So it kind of makes sense why he's not been in the end zone. Absolutely love his usage, though. He's 8th in snap share, 6th in opportunity share, and he gets used in the pass game as well. He's 5th among running backs with 51 targets, giving him a 14.7% target share, which is 4th at the position. He's also 9th in both routes run and route participation, and he comes in 1st among all running backs in drops. He's got 6 of them. Well, how are the Jags against the run? Since week 8, they allow the most points per game to the position, 31 points a week. They are the only team allowing more than 30 points on a weekly basis. They're also worst in the red zone, allowing 11.4 points per game. But wait, there's more. The Jags are also at the bottom of the league in rush yards allowed per game at 147. They're bottom of the league in 100-yard rush games allowed, and they've given up the 3rd most touchdowns. Quite frankly, this is a smash spot. I think Tony Pollard is a top 5 option this week at running back.
The Jags are also 3rd in receiving yards allowed to the position on the year too, and Pollard will catch 2 to 4 balls every week. It's going to happen, and I love this too because this is just kind of the warm up because you'll have this great matchup again, week 17. Remember that. It's going to be good.
It certainly is. We're going to move on to wide receiver now, and this Seahawks wide receiver has really come on over the last several weeks, and I don't know that he's taken over the wide receiver 1 role on the team, but he's certainly making his case for it.
Dude,
how do you like Jaxon Smith-Njigba this week?
I like him this week, and he is in the middle of a breakout sophomore season. He leads the Seahawks in targets, receptions, receiving yards, and he has 300-yard receiving games so far on the season. And I think that we can all agree that we did not see him as the PPR wide receiver 9 this year when the season began. So those who were patient with him have been rewarded tremendously. Last week, he caught all 4 of his targets, 74 yards, netting 11.9 PPR points. He was wide receiver 33, so still a flex play. That's now 4 straight games with 70-plus receiving yards, and he had scored 19-plus PPR in 3 out of his last 4. Since week 8, he has 510 receiving yards and the 3rd highest receiving yards per game at 102 among NFL receivers, behind a couple Bengals, Chase and Higgins. Amazing. I think JSN is he's a sharp route runner who can challenge defenses at any level. He reminds me of another great Seattle slot receiver, Doug Baldwin. God, he was good. The biggest improvement for JSN this year over last year has been simply catching the football. He had 8 drops last year with an 11.3% drop rate, the highest in the NFL among receivers with 75 targets last year. This year, he's only dropped 2 passes on 94 targets. He's worked at it. Maybe he's catching 202 balls every day on the jug machine like the sun god. So week 14, this matchup I like at Arizona, whom they just played 2 weeks ago, where JSN scored over 19 PPR points. He had 6 for 77 and a touchdown. The Arizona defense has really, really struggled against slot receivers. They've allowed the sixth most points per game to the position. You got, teams on 6 teams on a bye this week. He's 100% start. I have him high to mid wide receiver 2 this week.
Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable. Sure as shit ain't gonna be DK with the way he's played against the Cardinals, and this is a big division game. Both teams are vying for the division title, and the way things are shaking out in the NFC, it's kind of looking like the NFC West is just going to get the one team in. This is going to be a huge game. I think it's going to be a close game, and I'm right there with you. I think JSN is going to have a hell of a game.
Yeah. I just saw Blue Jays here headed to Tokyo and Vietnam for a month, so might be AWOL for a bit. Today, I just started reading a book called The Greatest Beer Run Ever. It got made into a movie, I think, a couple years ago. This was a man who went to Vietnam during the Vietnam War and, basically delivered beers to his soldier buddies to Vietnam. And this book talks about his trip. Very good book. Sorry, tangent. But I saw the Vietnam. Just love it. Blue Jays, I'm jealous because, God, you're going to eat so good over there. Oh, Vietnam, Tokyo, all of it. Yum.
I've never had Vietnamese food.
I've only had it once with Brandon in Vegas. One of the trips we went, and it was outstanding.
I know they make what is it? Pho? However you say it.
I think it's actually, pho.
Pho? That was close.
Heck yeah. Kelsey says she likes to read too. Good. I'm glad. Throw your favorite book. Poll question. Throw your favorite book in the chat.
Moneyball.
It's a good one. Last start for you. We got a tight end for you. Evan Engram has played in just 8 games this year, but he has either led or tied for the league in targets in 7 of those games, and his target rates are actually better with Mac Jones than Trevor Lawrence. How are you feeling about Engram this week, Matt?
I like him, and we're going to go to the other side of that Titans-Jaguars game with him. And Trevor Lawrence, he's on IR. Everyone is screwed, right?
Nope.
Not so fast, my friend. Mac Jones came in last week and went 20 of 32 for 235 and 2 and didn't throw an interception. And we've seen his play improve each week that he's been in there for the Jags. Regardless, though, of who's in at quarterback, Engram has been getting work. Since returning from injury in week 6, he's averaged 8 targets a game. Over the last 4 games, he's averaged 9 targets and 6 grabs, and that includes 2 games that were started by Jones and 1 finished by him. Since week 6, he's 7th in targets, 6th in the receptions, 11th in yards, and 4th in target share. He's been a top 12 option at the position, averaging 11.5 points per game in a PPR. He's got 5 games or 10 or more points with just 2 under 10 and none below 7. And just like Pollard, it would be nice if he could find his way to the end zone. He's only done it once this year. He is on the field a lot, though, with a 70+% snap share every week since week 8. Titans, they're bottom 10 against tight ends since week 8, allowing almost 16 points per game to the position, and they allow the 3rd most points in the red zone. Maybe that'll help Engram find the end zone since he's just 25th at the position with 3 red zone targets since week 6. That's just not good at all. The average game allowed by Tennessee to tight ends is 6 for 50 with 4 touchdowns over the last several weeks. If the game goes like I think it will, I think he has a great chance to finish as a mid-end tight end 1. And I know folks who drafted him this year, they had visions of last year in their mind, right? And he's a dude who suffered his fair share of injuries over the years. And I know for a lot of folks that change in quarterback to Mac Jones from Trevor Lawrence, who got put on IR, it can give you pause, right? That makes sense. Mac didn't look great the end of his tenure there in New England, and in limited snaps this year, he's looked shitty, okay, and halfway decent, right? But the point is the trend's going upward. I ain't afraid of that Titans defense, especially against tight ends. I think this game is going over the meager 39.5 total. I think it'll end up somewhere around 45, 46, something like that. And in order to get there, I think Engram is going to have to be a big part of that.
Yes. Well, what just happened to my screen? Oh, there it's gone again. Let's see. We got a couple questions here. Tyler Sperry, thoughts on Otten this week? Evans missed his second straight practice. I mean, if Evans were to miss game, Otten would be the man in that offense, just like he was when Evans was out. Also, Evans is the type of guy that I just don't really think requires practice reps to play on Sunday.
Not really.
And I know he's been dealing with a couple things, some hammy and something else, but I think if it was more serious, he'd be hearing something more.
I agree wholeheartedly. And just looking, Vegas since week 8 is allowing the most points to tight end.
Yeah.
27.1 points per game to a tight end. Like, how in the hell does that even happen?
Yeah.
Let me double check and make sure I've got the right. Yes. 27 points. And they're the ones with Brock Bowers.
Exactly. So, Tyler, yeah, that's a 1:00 game on Sunday. So plenty, it ain't Sunday night or Monday night or something. So, yeah, I would go with Otten for sure if Evans happened to be out.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to miss. I think it's more like veterans rest combined with, he was just on IR a couple of weeks ago.
And then second question about Charbonnet. Walker's also missed some practices this week. You saw Charbonnet mixing in more recently. Ken Walker has not looked efficient at all the last, 4 or 5 weeks. It's toughy.
It is. Yeah. I mean, honestly, if you're looking to start Zach Charbonnet, you're not in the greatest position when it comes to running backs, right? Because if you don't have 2 or 3 dudes over him already, I mean, Charbonnet ain't really done shit all season long. He's an upper tier handcuff though. So if Walker is out, he's going to get a shit ton of work and a shit ton of volume. Yes. Tomorrow is going to tell us a lot, that Friday practice report. If you can pick him up and stash him in hopes of him getting the nod there against Arizona, I would do it. But I'm not ready to commit to him fully until I see what Walker does tomorrow.
For sure. Good luck, Tyler. Blue Jays need some help. Start, sit. Need to pick 4 out of these guys. Pacheco, Hubbard, Myers, DJ Moore, and Harrison. I think Hubbard's definitely in.
Hubbard's out for me. Going up against that Philly defense, hell no.
It's just
absolutely.
It's all about volume.
It is, but we saw Brooks come on last week and steal some volume. He only had like 6 or 7 carries, but he was also on the field when it mattered the most. Jacoby Myers, love his matchup against Tampa Bay. DJ Moore going up against the 49ers. It's not as tough a matchup as it's been in years past. Seattle, they'll show up every now and then in the secondary, but still, Marv is a halfway decent play, and I like Pacheco. So Hubbard's the odd man out for me.
All righty then. What's everybody want for Christmas? Kelsey wants to know besides a league championship.
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I'd like a turntable.
I thought you already had one. You need a bigger one?
No, I have a DJ controller. I'm talking about a turntable for records.
Vinyl. Oh, okay. Yes, you want. Yes, I have one of those, and I never use it. I need to get more records. That's it. And to answer your question, Kelsey, the Lions, the Packers travel to Detroit today to play our Lions. Bisco's up in here. Why you doing, man?
What up, Bisco?
And so's Dewan. Heck yeah. What up, party people?
What's going on, Sway? Appreciate you stopping by.
Let's see. Tyler, when Walker was out last year, Charbonnet averaged 18. When he was out earlier this year, Charbonnet worked that one game. I don't know, week 3, week 4. It was early. He had plenty of carries. He'll definitely get it if Walker's out. Just got to keep waiting on that. Practice reports. Johnny Talbot, welcome to the show. PPR start 1, Jennings, Mooney, Dowdle, and also either the Chargers or Bengals defense. Bengals defense is a no.
Yeah, I'm not starting the Bengals defense at all. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to pick Rico Dowdle out of that because that Bengals defense is just so damn terrible.
Yeah.
Although Darnell Mooney comes in a close second, going up against that Vikings secondary that certainly has shown us through the year that they can be beat.
They can, and you wonder if I don't even know if you can really call this a revenge game with Kirk versus Minnesota, especially with how bad he's been playing.
Of course, you can call it a revenge game. He was in Minnesota last year.
Well, I understand that, but that he left, right? They wanted him. He left. I look at revenge game as you got released and came back and played your team. You got traded and came back and played that team. You choose to leave. Is it really a revenge game?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure is.
Throw your thoughts in the chats, everyone. And Thursday's show could not be complete, of course, without Kelsey and getting her question answered. Burrow or Herbert this week?
Jose Burrow, no doubt. Going up against that Cowboys defense, they're also another shitty defense that can't stop anybody. Granted, with the Chargers playing against Kansas City, the way to beat that defense is through the air, but I do have some concern about Ladd McConkey and his ability to play. I think he was limited today. Obviously, Quentin Johnston, no, I don't want to start him. Last Herbert only had 174 yards passing, and 111 of them went to McConkey. I don't know. It just that matchup for Joe Burrow is so damn good. I mean, he's a top 3 option this week.
Yeah, start Joe Herbert this week, Kelsey. See what that gets you. Johnny just loves this Bengals defense. Are you a Bengals fan? Because they're just not good. Wants to know about using them next week against the Titans and the week after that against the Browns.
I'll say it like this. If all 31 other team planes crashed and there were no other defenses, I would just take a 0 at the spot. There is no way I'm
check with us every week,
defense.
Johnny. We'll give you some top defenses to use every week. If you missed the show, put your question in the comments. We'll get it to you. We'll help you out. Kelsey, Garendo or Hunt? Probably Garendo. Full swing there. The splits or carries between Hunt and Pacheco last week were right about even.
Yeah, and I expect that's going to go more towards Pacheco. Niners going up against the Bears. The Bears are a run funnel defense. Now Garendo is a really damn good start this week.
Talking defense, what do we think of Buffalo versus the Rams?
I don't hate it, but I'm not a huge fan. Buffalo plays a lot of cover 1, and Puka Nacua absolutely destroys cover 1.
Okay.
And it's in LA. If it was in Buffalo, I might feel a little bit differently with them on the road. I mean, look, if they're your own, I would start Buffalo and the Rams over the Bengals.
Definitely. Definitely.
I think, Buffalo, they'll come in somewhere mid-pack this week, probably.
Nice. Johnny, Mike Evans playing this week. He hasn't practiced yet. Watch them reports. We talked about him just a moment ago, and he's been in the league so long and a veteran that if he misses all the practices this week, he's a player that could suit up and play just fine on Sunday.
Yeah, and I think he will. Tampa Bay, I think they're going to end up winning that division, but they're not going to do it without Mike Evans.
No, they're not. And they need to get some wins because they've lost a tiebreaker with Atlanta. So Bisco, Marvin Harrison Jr. or Pacheco for the flex?
I'm going to go Pacheco on that one.
Running back in the flex. I'm shocked.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all things being equal, lean towards volume.
Yep. I agree. Good luck, Bisco. Johnny, and Darnell Mooney over Jennings if Mike Evans is out. Yeah, I would probably consider that.
Yeah. I'd go Mooney over Jennings.
CD Moore over DJ Moore. CD Moore. CD Lamb or DJ Moore?
I'm going CD, but the problem is, he's kind of banged up too, and they don't play until Monday night. Now, I have no reason to believe that he's not going to play, but still, with it being that far away, it's kind of always in the back of your mind. And if you decide to go with CD over DJ Moore, have a backup plan in place. Put him in your flex and just kind of wait.
Yeah. Bisco says he finally dropped Amari Cooper, yet he pops off around this time of the season. He could. Shakir leads that wide receiver room. He averages the most targets, about 8. Amari just hasn't fit in yet. Just hasn't worked out.
And I think, too, like Shakir leading in targets is kind of a battle of attrition, right? Because
Sure.
Amari Cooper's been out. Keon Coleman has been out. Who's that other dickhead they brought in the offseason that hasn't done shit?
Curtis Samuel.
Samuel.
Yeah.
I wanted to say like Corey Parker, but I don't think that's a person.
No, it is not. Kelsey Myers and Neighbors are questionable. What should she do?
You should just chill because they're both going to play. Neighbors popped up today with a groin issue. I love that matchup against the Saints, and I think Drew Lock is going to have a little bit better game this week than he had last week. Jacoby Myers essentially is giving us this year what we thought we were going to get from Davante Adams. Going up against that Tampa Bay secondary, no concerns whatsoever.
Excellent.
Leave them both in there, sleep like a baby.
Better announcer, Romo or Brady? Now, Brady's just 13 weeks into this. He's not bad. That first week or so was really rough. You could tell he was damn uncomfortable in the booth. He's been getting better.
He has. I mean, as it stands right now, Romo is better. But I think Brady's going to continue to improve at that. Just you look at the way the man approaches his craft, be it on the field or his TB12 shit or announcing, right? Of anybody, he's a dude that's going to put in the work to get better.
Yeah. Dubo, Saints D versus the Giants instead. I think that's a great one. I picked them up in a league this week to go against the Giants. They're pretty much reeling and can't do much. I like that. Even though the Saints D hasn't really been very great this year, I like this 1 week matchup.
Yeah. I think I'd take the Saints over the Bills.
Talbot Subban. Thank you, Johnny, very much. Appreciate
Thanks,
that.
dude.
Yes, we're here every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern for waivers. Every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern for our start sit show. And then we do a Sunday noon show at noon Eastern, taking all your last minute questions before lineups lock after, the inactives have come out and that we got a little bit more idea what's going on.
Yeah, we do the Sunday noon show at noon.
Sunday noon show at noon. You're making fun of me, aren't you?
Not at all. I would never dream of it.
All right. We got some sits for you.
Yes, we do. And we're going to head up to Minnesota. Aaron Jones has had kind of an up and down season. He's ceding carries to Cam Akers at time earlier in the season. Ty Chandler was getting in the mix, and look, he's getting up there in years. The matchup this week against the Falcons isn't the greatest.
No.
Kyle, what do you think is going to happen with him?
Definitely temper your expectations. Had just 22 rushing yards last week. Caught 3 balls for 6 yards and saved his fantasy day with a receiving touchdown. And his low touches recently have a lot to do. He got benched for a short time due to some fumbling issues. He's now fumbled in 3 straight games with a total of 5 fumbles year to date. I think he's tied for second with the most among running backs this year. So, with those inefficiencies and his ball control or ball security issues, it's becoming this recurring theme. Might Aaron Jones be headed more to a decrease in volume? Will we see Cam Akers take over more? That's definitely something to think about. Jones is still PPR running back 17 on the year, but he started out hot weeks 1 through 5. He was RB8, so he's taken quite a fall. He's now scored 12.2 or fewer in 5 of his last 6 games. It's really hard to rely on that, especially in week 14. And you're in a win and in situation, and you really need him to do something. It's going to be risky. Among the running backs with at least 60 carries, Jones ranks 33rd in rush grade. He is 39th in elusive rating, 26th in yards after contact per attempt, and 26th in PFF's breakaway rate. And like Matt alluded to, the matchup against the Falcons isn't very good on paper. Year to date, they've allowed the 10th fewest PPR points per game to running backs. And since week 9, they're also at the 10th fewest. So they've been damn consistent. Their defense has allowed just 1 rushing touchdown and the 5th fewest points per game to backs since week 11, just a few weeks ago. So he's a risky flex this week for me. I still have him as a mid-tier RB2 for this week and, for the foreseeable future.
I can dig that, man. Piss on them Vikings. I don't give a shit if they're 10-2 or not. It's the Lions division. Have fun playing in a wild card, jabronis. We got some questions here in the chat. Terrell's joining us. Sincere McCormick or Braylon Allen? And that is one hell of a fish dude's got there. Is that a catfish or something?
I don't know. It's a big one. Sincere McCormick.
That's what she said.
That's right. So a lot of backfields in Vegas, or a lot of backfields. The backfield is full in Vegas. You got Madison and this McCormick and Zamir White and who else? Madison. Did I already say Madison? Yeah, I'm losing
Amir
my mind.
Abdullah.
Amir Abdullah. Ex-Lion Amir Abdullah. I'll take Braylon Allen.
Sincere McCormick looked halfway decent this week.
He did. Last week.
Braylon Allen has looked solid over the course of the season. His touches have really kind of fluctuated. I think it's going to come down to this. I think Breece Hall is playing, and so that's going to negate Braylon Allen. I think Sincere McCormick is going to be the call. We'll know at 1 o'clock on Sunday what's going on with Breece, so pay attention there, and that'll guide you.
Yeah. Bisco, would you drop Evan for Ertz? Have Ingram's as Ertz is on a bye. Engram is a full start for us this week. You should start him. So no.
Yeah, I mean he's got Mandrews, who's also on bye.
Yeah.
If you want to start a tight end this week, Bisco, I'd hang on to Engram.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, don't let the Mac Jones things scare you too much. Let's see. Do I got any other questions?
We do.
There you go.
Rell's asking the dismissal or Caleb Ferguson, Jake Ferguson. I am just making up names today.
Yes, Jake Ferguson's no longer concussed, practiced in full. I'd start him.
I like the dismissal. Honestly, Kansas City has struggled against tight ends. Jake Ferguson, he doesn't really give you much, and we've not really seen him with Cooper Rush all that much. I like Will Dissly. That's the pick for me.
Will Zero Dissly got you a donut last week.
It's all right. Last week don't matter. It was last week. We're talking about this week. I whooped Dubo's ass.
I prefer Ferguson. He's going to work, pretty short field. Cooper Rush can use him as a security blanket. Cooper Rush is already just throwing a ton of short passes. I prefer Ferguson. So not the Mostly Sane podcast.
Right. Oh, Bisco was asking his stuff was for the playoffs. Drop Engram for Ertz. I think with Mac Jones continuing to start down there, at least up through week 17, I kind of think Engram is the way to go. I don't remember their schedule offhand. But
it's not great because they got Tennessee twice this week and then championship week. They've been tough on tight ends. They've been earlier in the season. They were a lot tougher. They've definitely slipped a bit there. Ertz is a top 10 tight end though this year. I like that, and I like that offense better. I'm still going with Engram.
Yeah, and I think it's damn close to a coin flip too, Bisco.
It is. Blizzard, what's up, man? He wants to pick up another defense for the playoffs. He has the Bucks right now. Which of these defenses would you add? Packers, Cards, or Falcons?
I'm going to go with Cardinals. That defense has been playing fantastic the back half of the season this year. The Packers, FTP, right? And that Falcons defense is solid, but I think the Cards are the best of the bunch there.
Yeah, I like it. They got, let's see, Seattle this week. New England next week would be good for them. Carolina the week after. Yeah, I agree with Matt. Arizona. Does anyone have a huge bet on the line for winning your league other than my huge entry fee? No.
Now, so Kyle and I are in a league. It's I don't know, IDP and keepers and contracts and all this other horse shit. And if you win, I think you get, I don't know, it's like $1,000 or something like that. So
Somewhere around there.
yeah, I'll take $1,000 tax free.
Let's see. Terrell, go with Kincaid or Ferguson? Stuffy. Been hurt. Dawson Knox has filled in okay-ish since he's been gone. I still like Ferguson.
Yeah, Kincaid hasn't really done shit all year, man. I'll go with you and go with Ferguson there.
Kelsey says she's killing her dad, destroying her dad, so he has to cook and clean for me for a weekend. Well, he is in for just dirty the shit out of that house before he comes in. Sink full of dishes.
He better make you some damn good meals too.
This isn't a rip, but the Lions need down a bunch of starters. Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
They've been hit hard by the injury bug.
And Packers are down a few as well on defense. So FTP. Let's see where we got. No more questions. I think we're good. Where are we at? Quarterback.
Yes.
Over the last 4 weeks, only the Bills have allowed fewer fantasy points per game to quarterbacks than the Arizona Cardinals. With Geno Smith being inconsistent for most of the season, a matchup versus Arizona makes him pretty tough to trust, right, Matt?
Oh, it sure does. And you know, I want to throw this out there. This may seem to fly in the face of Kyle recommending to start JSN, but it doesn't. And again, I'll reference that Chargers game last week where Herbert threw for $175 with like 80% of it going to Ladd McConkey. I think there's a decent chance we could see a similar scenario this week. That matchup is absolutely brutal. They've allowed just 12 points per game to QBs and 3.3 red zone points per game since week 8. Both of those are the second best in the NFL. They give up just 218 yards per game through the air. That's the 7th fewest, and 4 total touchdowns allowed is the 2nd fewest. They only have 1 interception in that time frame, but they've also not allowed a 300-yard passer. The last time he faced the Cardinals, Geno went 22 of 31 for 254, a touchdown, a pick, and a fumble, which it wasn't a fumble loss, but he still fumbled. He was also sacked 5 times in that Seahawks 16-6 win at home. It was good for a QB 20 finish. Gross. Since week 8, Geno is the QB 28 in points per game, averaging just 15.3 points per week. Sticking in that time box, he's 16th in passing yards, 15th in air yards with 5 touchdowns, 6 picks, and 4 fumbles while getting sacked 20 times. Along with Kyle, I like JSN this week. But if you think DK is going to help Geno out, think again. For his career, DK averages 3 for 30 against Arizona with 2 touchdowns in 10 games. He did go 4 for 59 against them a couple weeks ago, but that was also at home. I think you can start Geno in 2 QB or super flex leagues, but in 1 QB formats, his ass belongs on your bench.
Definitely. 2 QB league, super flex. Yeah, he's a start, but otherwise, no. Bisco, Russell Wilson or Darnold this week? He's got Lamar on by. I picked up Russ because he was available and Darnold wasn't. I kind of like both of them this week, actually.
Yeah, AJ Terrell's a halfway decent corner there, and I think he's going to end up shadowing Justin Jefferson this week. We saw a little bit more out of Jordan Addison, who pled not guilty to his DUI charge. Congratulations to him. And then Russ going up against Cleveland. I'm going to lean Russ on this one, not by a lot.
No,
honestly, and being real here, like, I couldn't tell you to start one over the other with any kind of conviction. I think they're both very similar back-end QB1s, high-end QB2s.
Yeah. Don't think there's going to be 400 yards going, though, from Russ. I don't see that this week, but
no.
Yeah, I could see a solid game where he could get you 17, 18, 19.
It's possible.
Yeah. That's it.
It is.
We
got. Oh, is there more questions, or are we good to keep going?
Keep going.
All right. So we got a tight end for you, and you've heard me say not only throughout this football season, but during baseball season as well. And shit, even to football season last year, there isn't anybody named Kyle doing shit for you ever. And here we've got Kyle Pitts.
Yes, a once promising early season run has just spiraled into just disappointment for Kyle Pitts and fantasy managers as well. Last week, he didn't record a catch on 2 targets. That's his second donut of the year, and his 33 snaps played last week was his lowest since week 9. He's tied in 15 on the season in PPR, not where any of us thought that he would be at all. In the last 4 weeks, he's averaged just 3.5 points per game in PPR while scoring 2.1 twice. Ugly. Since week 9, his target shares have gone 4%, 15%, 11%, and 6%. Since the calendar turned to November, he's caught 6 passes for 75 yards on only 12 targets. That's gross, disgusting. Perhaps, some of this is due to how shitty Kirk Cousins has played and how shitty the offense there in Atlanta has been. They've only scored 1 touchdown in the last 9 quarters, and they've lost 3 in a row. Among tight ends, Pitt's still okay. He's 20th in reception, 9th in receiving yards. He's tied for 12th in touchdowns, and he's also top 10 in yards per catch and receptions of 20-plus yards with 6 of them. Matchup this week at Minnesota, they're middle of the road against tight ends based on fantasy points allowed per game, but their defense has only given up 2 touchdowns all damn season to tight ends. I'd keep Pitts on the sidelines for sure. In the playoffs, there's no way I'm trusting Pitts. Drop Pitts and find another tight end that's at least going to catch you a few passes.
Dismissal.
Yep. Dismissal. Heck yeah.
We kind of touched on it on Tuesday, but at what point do we arrive at the conclusion that it wasn't Arthur Smith that was the problem? It's Kyle Pitts, or are we going to lay the blame at the feet of Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, I don't know. There's something not right because Kirk Cousins is peppering Darnell Mooney and peppering Drake London. I don't know if Kyle Pitts is just not I don't know if he's not a good route runner, if he just doesn't know how to get into space and help out his quarterback. I have no idea, but he is just, he looks lost.
So we got a request in the chat. They want to see Maddie Gaga again. And I said I would go get the wig if you agree to entertain them by yourself while I'm gone.
Sure.
Kelsey says, Kyle, please. Dubo says to be a team player. What's the verdict, my friend?
Well, I'm wondering, what do you got to go dig this out the garage or some shit?
No, it's upstairs.
All right. See you in a second.
Well, I said after my next player. We got one dude left.
Oh, we do. That's right. His name is Davante Adams. Davante Adams doesn't really have a volume problem. He has an efficiency problem. And I think that's kind of related to how poorly Aaron Rodgers has played this year. And I don't think it's going to get any easier in South Beach this week.
No, absolutely not. And look, he's had a pretty disappointing season overall this year. He's the overall wide receiver 37. And to put it in context, he has just 11 more points than Stephon Diggs, who hasn't played in 6 weeks. He's been a little bit better since week 9. He's a wide receiver 15 in points per game. But since landing with the Jets, you like that here? He's averaged 10 targets per game, but just 5 receptions for 57 yards with 2 touchdowns in 6 games. He's gone over 75 yards just once and had more than 6 receptions just once, both occurring in week 9 and a win against Houston. But there's 6 teams on bye this week. It's kind of tough to sit him, but hear me out. All right, the Dolphins allowed just 81 yards per game and 3 total touchdowns to outside receivers all season long. The Jets have used him in the slot more than Vegas did, but it's still around a 50-50 split. Since week 8, the Dolphins are well within the top half of the league against a wide receiver, allowing just 32 points per game, and they're allowing the 8th fewest yards per game overall with just 133. They've given up 5 trips to the end zone, but just 1 100-yard game. That washed up Jabroni throwing him the ball hasn't gone over 275 yards since week 7, has only done it 3 times overall this year, and he hasn't even crested 200 yards in the last 3 weeks. Miami, they still actually have something to play for, while Aaron Rodgers is practically begging in the media to come back next season because this year is over for the Jets. I don't know that Jalen Ramsey is going to shadow, either Garrett Wilson or Davante Adams, but I don't really like that matchup for either one of them, just kind of based on how he's played this year. Look, I get it. It's Davante Adams. He's a Hall of Famer. You don't ever want to sit his ass down. As somebody who rostered both him and Tyreek Hill for a good portion of the year, I understand that struggle is real, right? Because you've got the name, but you've got the results. And sometimes the hardest thing to do is divorce the name from the result. But this is a week when you should do it. Put Davante Adams on your bench. That jet is grounded.
Let's see. Steven.
What's up,
Welcome
Steven?
to the show. In a full PPR, deciding on his two flexes. Options are Josh Jacobs, Pickens, Najee, or McConkey. Are you starting anyone over Pickens or Jacobs?
I'm going to start Pickens. Najee, he's been better lately, but understand he's still that like 3 yards in a cloud of dust kind of player, right? And in a PPR, he doesn't have the same kind of value. McConkey, if he was healthy, I would start him over Pickens, but I think they're both very, very close. I think McConkey will see more volume than Pickens does, but Pickens is more of that big play threat. He's that jump ball 50-50 guy. Josh Jacobs, the FTPs up there in Green Bay have a renewed focus on the running game since their bye a few weeks back. And I think since then, Josh Jacobs has been like the running back 5. There ain't no way Jacobs is going on the bench. I think it's Jacobs and Pickens.
Nice. Steven's also got a second question. We touched on this a little earlier with Lamar on bye. Caleb, Russell, Geno, Cooper Rush, or Stafford. I think we were talking earlier where Russell was a decent pick.
Russell's
like
a decent
others?
Pick. Stafford, I don't mind going up against the Bills. Cooper Rush has the best matchup of all of them, but I almost think that's getting a little bit too cute.
It is.
And pay no attention to my CBS league team who has Cooper Rush in there.
It's a 2 QB.
It is. It's a super flex league. Yeah, it's either Russ or Stafford for me. I'm going to lean Stafford with him being at home in that controlled environment. That's the call.
Nice. Will Dobbins come back? I don't think so. Not for fantasy.
No,
as far as I know.
And honestly, in that backfield, it's a 3-headed monster. There isn't really anybody worth starting there. At least you can't do it with any kind of confidence. Gus Edwards is going to go out there and give you like 12 for 48, and you need him to score a touchdown to have any kind of value. Kamani Vidal, he'll get some pass game work. Hassan Haskins is a younger Gus Edwards. So yeah, no, it's just time to pass on that backfield.
And think McConkey is out. We don't know yet. So just keep on. I think he'll play. I think he was limited all week or twice.
Yeah. But it sucks because that's a Sunday night game.
It is. Definitely have a plan in place.
Yep. Put him in a flex if you can.
And FTP just stands for fuck the Packers.
Yes, fuck the Packers.
We've been saying FTP since we've come out the womb up here in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan, what's up, man? Welcome back to the show. He needs to pick 2 for a full PPR. Needs this for tonight. So this game's coming up. JMO, Akine, or Devonta Smith?
I think Devonta is the odd man out. I don't think they need him against Carolina to win that game. I'm sure he'll be active, but I can't see him having a huge workload or even really a big snap share. I think this is going to be a Saquon Barkley game. I think there's a small narrative of wanting to get him the MVP and pushing towards 2,000 yards and all this. And the man's efficiency is just insane this year.
Very good.
Yeah, I think Devonta Smith's the odd man out. And what a disappointment he's been this year.
Yes, and we both thought he was going to be good in the Kellen Moore system where flexes usually flourish, and it hasn't happened. So, How many weeks left for fantasy? This is the last regular season week, and typically there's 3 weeks of fantasy playoffs. Some leagues go 4 all the way to week 18, which you shouldn't join leagues like that because a lot of players won't play week 18 if they're bound for the playoffs in real football. So just a few weeks left.
That's it. And Kelsey, since you're 12-1 and the baddest chick on 2 legs, you're probably going to have a first round bye.
You probably will. Raphael, welcome to the show. Sit one, Laporta or Engram? I think Laporta. We're both on Engram this week, but
yeah, I think Ingram's the better play this week.
For volume wise, yes. Laporta could find his way into the end zone on 3 catches. Engram should have 8 to 10 targets. All right, go get your stupid thing here. I'm going to tell tell an inappropriate joke while you're gone, probably. So this joke, it's a little. I'll probably cross the line a little bit here, but guy walks into a bar and he's sitting there talking to the bartender. He looks down at the end of the bar, sees a guy sitting down there, and guy looks like Hitler. He asks the bartender, "Is that Adolf Hitler down there?" Yeah, it is. He comes in here. He comes in here every Tuesday night, hangs out, has a few beers. Wow, I can't believe Hitler's in the bar. That's weird. He decides to go down and talk to him. He scoots next down to him, sits at a stool there, and says, "What's up, dude? Adolf Hitler. What the hell are you doing here?" I'm hanging low. I'm making new plans. I really screwed up last time. This time, I'm going to kill 6 million Jews and 10 clowns. And the guy says, 10 clowns? Why do you want to kill 10 clowns? And Hitler looks at the bartender and says, "See, I told you no one cared about 6 million Jews. See, I told you it wasn't going to be very PC, I should say." But Ralph, thanks for your input there. No, you're welcome for your answer there as well. I know it was a rough one. It was the only joke I could think of in short term there, but you got to go with this stuff every once in a while. So, while we're waiting for Matt with his cool wig, everyone's Thanksgiving was good. I hope. What's on everybody's Christmas list? What do you want? What's the gift you want? I think definitely electronics would be a good one to buy right now. If you need a new video game system, hell, a new phone, I think you're going to see the prices probably go up on those next year with the new president coming in, because a lot of those things are going to be imported from China and cost a lot of money. I think I see Matt coming back. There he is.
Yes.
Almost. Wow. There you just look like a blonde chick.
Well, just understand the carpet doesn't match the drapes here with this. These blonde locks.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, definitely looks a little different without the facial hair and your very, 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 very tiny mouth.
Yes.
Raphael, one more. Should I bench CD Lamb week 14? Probably not. I still think no.
I think he's going to play.
Yeah. He's banged up, but he will play. Doesn't really have anything to play for, as a team, but heck yeah. True Swifty. Yes. Yes,
he was just here a month ago.
Yes, he is. Well, you gave it to him, man. That's good stuff. I like how you're doing the thing to keep it out of your hair. That's great. You need to get like a headband or something.
I should
keep that out of your hair.
Put it in a ponytail.
A scrunchie. Put it in a ponytail. Oh God. Kinda hot.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you should just wear that to work tomorrow. I'd love to see that. Love to see that.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone would.
All right, we're going to get out of here. We got a game to watch. Everybody, good luck in your matchups as well. We'll be back Sunday, 12 noon Eastern, of course. We'll take all your last-minute questions. Stay stoned, everyone. Have a great night.
See you, folks. Check out my poker.